Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Community and Culture Committee meeting of Monday, the 11th of August, 2025. I'll declare the meeting open at 6:03 p.m. I would like to acknowledge the Bidjigal people of the Eora Nation, who are the traditional custodians of all lands, waters and sky in the Georges River area. I pay my respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples who live, work and meet on these lands. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. Apologies, I don't think we have any apologies for this evening. Okay, so we'll move to, we do have a request to attend our meeting via an audio-visual link from Councillor Gow. So we need to call for a mover and a seconder to accept that. So moved by Councillor Arthur and seconded by Councillor Anzalotti. All those in favour? Anyone against? Okay, we'll declare that carried. The notice of live streaming, staff and public are reminded that this meeting is being recorded for minute-taking purposes and is also being broadcast live to the public on Council's website in accordance with Section 5 of Council's Code of Meeting Practice. The recording will be made available on Council's website. The Code of Meeting Practice. The order of business is as shown in the agenda, which has been made available. Staff and public are reminded that this meeting is open. Doors to the meeting room are to be left open unless the meeting moves into a closed or confidential session, according to Section 14 of the Code of Meeting Practice. Only if the meeting moves into a closed or confidential session will the public broadcasting of the meeting be suspended. Council's Code of Meeting Practice prohibits the electronic recording of meetings without the express permission of Council. Mobile phones must be turned to silent during the meeting. Disclosures of interest. Do any councillors have any interest to declare tonight?
Okay. I'll declare non-significant non-pecuniary interest in item COM 033-25, event grants September 2025 to October 2025, and that is for the Macedonian Festival grant. I know a few people on the committee. They reached out for guidance on how to communicate with the council, but that's all it is.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Jamalski. Have you passed that on to council officers?
I am
in the process of
in the process of doing it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Mayor is assisting.
Madam Mayor, did you have a declaration as well?
No.
Oh, okay, you're just pressing the microphone. Okay, thank you. All right, no other declarations to declare tonight? Okay, we can move on, and we've got no speakers registered for public forum. The first item on the agenda, therefore, is the confirmation of the minutes of the Community and Culture Committee meeting held on the 14th of July 2025. So I'll call for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Allison and seconded by Councillor Mort. I think we can just go all those in favour. Please say aye. Anybody against? Okay, we'll declare that one carried. So that brings us to our first item on the agenda, which is COM 031-25, Adopted Customer Feedback and Complaints Management Policy. And we will hear from our Head of Customer Experience. But firstly, I'll call for a mover and a seconder of this report. Moved by Councillor Mort and seconded by Councillor Allison. Thank you. And we're going to hear from our Head of Customer Experience, Michelle Cowie, and she's going to provide us with an overview of this report. Thank you.
Through you, Madam Chair. Good evening, councillors. This report is for the Customer Feedback and Complaints Management Policy, which has undergone a review and been updated. There's two recommendations contained in this report. The first one being that the draft policy be adopted, and the second one is that the General Manager be delegated authority to make minor administrative changes to the policy if required. So in April this year, staff conducted a comprehensive review of the policy, which included benchmarking of other local councils and government agencies, and also submitting a copy of the draft policy to the New South Wales Ombudsman for their review and for them to provide their feedback. As a result, two recommendations were made by the New South Wales Ombudsman, which have been incorporated into the draft policy, and they're outlined in your report tonight. The most significant change to the policy is the internal review process, with a change to the resolution time from 10 business days to 15 business days. And this has been done to reflect the complexity of some of these matters. And we've also introduced an internal review criteria to assist customers through this process. A reference to the Disability Inclusion Action Plan has also been added to support people who may need assistance in making a complaint. The draft policy went on public exhibition on the 10th of June for 28 days, and although we didn't receive any formal submissions, there was engagement on the Have Your Say page, and the draft policy was downloaded a number of times. The report is attached, the policy is attached to the report and it's ready for your consideration.
Great, thank you, Ms. Cowie. Councillors, do we have any questions of Ms. Cowie on this particular report? No? I would just like to point something out, and it's not a big deal, but it's actually in the body of the report. It refers to the council meeting on the 12th of May, which was, I think, the committee meeting rather than the council meeting, which was on the 23rd of May. It's not in the recommendation. It's not a biggie, but I just wanted to mention that. Thank you. Okay, if there are no questions, councillors, we might go to moving the report. It's been moved by Councillor Morton, seconded by Councillor Allison. So, Ms. Matthews, if you could go around the room. Thank you.
Madam Mayor. 4. Councillor Lansbury. 4. Councillor Allison. 4. Councillor Anzalotti. 4. Councillor Arthur. 4. Councillor Demoski.
4.
Councillor Gow.
4.
Councillor Liu. 4. Councillor Moore. 4. Councillor Wang.
4.
Unanimous.
We'll declare that one carried, and we'll now move to our next item, which is COM 032-25, Action Plan for Library Spaces. We'll be hearing from our Manager of Cultural Engagement and Library Services, Justin Yeomans. But firstly, I'll just call for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Mort and seconded by Councillor Allison. Thank you. Mr. Yeomans, if you could give us an overview, that would be great. Thank you.
Through you, Madam Chair. Good evening, councillors. This report concerns an action plan for library spaces, and there's 3 recommendations on the report. The council endorsed 2 locations that were identified as a pretty good fit for the new library that we're proposing to build. You can see the property at Cook Street, Mortdale, and Olds Park, Penshurst are those properties. And secondly, that there's an opportunity to do a deep dive on the Mortdale property as part of council's upcoming property strategy, and those reports are reported back to council in detail. The third recommendation being that council endorsed the action plan that's included in this report, which includes the timeline for those new library actions, as well as the timeline for the branch library actions that are proposed. You'll remember, councillors, that those recommendations are based on fulfilling the library strategy, which has action items about finding and locating a new library for the western half of the LGA, and to transform the use of our branch libraries. The recommendations also based on a comprehensive data review that we did that was attached to this report as attachment 1. So that data included the SINAS strategy, the State Library New South Wales guidelines, the accessible, inclusive and livable audit that was done on the library sites, and the comprehensive community survey that was done earlier this year, which one of the most successful surveys that council had, with more than 1,000 responses, helped us understand current priorities for the community when it comes to library services. That data also helped us identify some of the constraints that our current sites have that supported these recommendations for change. You can find all that data in attachment 1, and attachment 2 concerns more data on the location of the location review that we did for potential sites in the area, with Mortdale, Cook Street, Mortdale and Olds Park, Penshurst being the best aligned of those options. I should point out the action plan includes the actions for transforming the branch libraries, with the short-term priority being to focus on Southhurst first in that chain of actions, for the reasons outlined in the report. It'll help us understand a potential design that would work for that site, as well as the cost that would come with that design and some, the feasibilities of making that choice first up, so council can make an informed decision. Understanding, as outlined in the report, that the branch library at Oatley and the branch library at Penshurst are quite close to the proposed potential sites for a new library. So the impact of a new library kind of would influence what we do with those existing sites that are located closer to either Mortail or Penshurst, so they come further down in the chain of priorities. Hopefully that's enough context for, I know there's a lot of data in the report, but happy to take any questions at this point, councillors, or any areas of the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. Just before I throw to the councillors, I just wanted to check something with you. When we did the community engagement, let's say 3 years ago, I think it was, we had councillors were provided with a copy of the survey data, and it was quite, like, I know this one has been more responses were received for this one. I don't think we've received a copy of that this time, have we?
No, I haven't provided that, councillors, but you can have a copy.
I'd actually like to have that because I found it really useful. I know when we discussed our motion that we put up in November 22 about revitalising the branch libraries, it was really useful to see the sorts of comments that were provided from that, because overwhelmingly people wanted to maintain the branch libraries. That's why we've sort of dug in and have consistently sort of pushed to retain them and enhance them by revitalising them. Yeah, that would be great. And I'll throw over to councillors now for further questions.
I'd just like to move the motion to add part C to add to this is the council endorse the actions outlined in this report, and also the next piece would be to including the proposed actions identified to revitalise and reimagine transform council's branch libraries. That could be added to the
Thank you, Councillor Moore. You're moving that amendment. I think Councillor Ellison, you seconded it. Do you accept that amendment? Okay, can we see that on the screen at all? Okay, for the benefit of Councillor Gower, as you're online, I'll just read that for you in case you can't see it yet. That council endorsed the action in part C, that a council endorsed the actions outlined within this report, including the proposed actions identified to, I can't actually read that, I thought I could. To identify, can you pass that out to me? Thanks. Can't read it from here. Thank you. It's quite small. Thank you. Including the proposed actions identified to revitalise, reimagine and transform council's branch libraries. So that's the amendment that Councillor Mort has proposed. Councillor Mort, did you want to speak to that? Okay. Councillor Ellison, did you want to speak to that at all? Okay. Any discussion from any other councillors?
I'll say a few words, and I know that libraries has been a very big topic of discussion at council. The actions outlined in this amendment to progress on a new district library gives us a direction to pursue, and I know in line with your comments, Councillor Lansbury, now a number of us councillors have been very strong in our support of seeing the retention of the branch libraries, so it would be interesting to see that the data from the submissions. I know we got the breakdown of the briefing in, I think it was June, but just to get the itemised of that would be good as well. I think the actions outlined here will hopefully do what we envisaged a few years ago when we supported that motion to revitalise the branch libraries, and hopefully, I know that they will, and I've had discussions with the director on this as well, that the reimagining of the libraries is probably quite key to that amendment, because what we know of as an existing library perhaps has to be reimagined if we're going to make the spaces usable and attractive to the community going forward. So I support the actions that are outlined here so that the spaces can be reimagined and meet the needs of the community.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Any other comments, councillors? If not, I wouldn't mind just adding a couple further to what the Mayor has just said. as I said to Mr. Yeomans, a lot of the feedback that came from the previous community engagement was really specific about the value of the branch libraries. I've made no secret of the fact that I have not really been a huge supporter of it being in Mortdale. I've always thought Penshurst was a great location. It might not be in a train line, but it's where a park, there's an amazing park and skate park, and many buses go past and a lot of people can walk there. It's great open space surrounding it, and I think not everything needs to be located within a retail shopping strip. I think it would also, you know, we talked about it in the briefing as well, including a cafe of some sort would really revitalise that section and be very useful for the park. And my preferred option has always been Penshurst. I think, not sure that there was much space between what was being proposed size-wise for Mortdale and Penshurst, and I think it is a much better location in Penshurst, but don't want to rule it out at this point in time. That's why I'm happy to support the recommendation that's before us tonight, but I think it's really important that we bear in mind that council is in the business of service delivery, and even if it's not, we're never going to make money out of our libraries. It's just one of those things that we're never going to make money out of, but we have invested a lot of money in sporting facilities over the years because they provide a valuable service to the community, and I don't see libraries being much different than that. And maybe our branch libraries just are a bit tired and do need to be revitalised. That's why we brought the motion to council in November 22 for the benefit of the newer councillors who weren't here at that point in time, based on the feedback we received from the community back then. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. And if we've got no further comments or quick question, Councillor Allison.
Just in regards to Penshurst Library, I just noticed some substantial Indigenous trees, remnant trees that are up there in the grounds around the current library, and just to make sure that any design was sympathetic to that, I guess. Thanks.
Thanks, Councillor. Yes, that would be in scope, working with some of the constraints of the site, which would be any tree constraints that we have.
Thanks, Councillor Allison. No further comments? Okay, thanks. Then we'll put it to the vote. It's been moved by Councillor Mort with the amendment and seconded by Councillor Allison. I'll just ask Ms Matthew to go around the room, please.
Mayor Borg,
For.
Councillor Lansbury,
For.
Councillor Allison,
For.
Councillor Anzalotti,
For.
Councillor Arthur,
For.
Councillor Domovsky,
For.
Councillor Gow,
For.
Councillor Liu, Councillor Mort,
For.
Councillor Wang.
For.
Unanimous.
Great, thank you. We'll declare that one carried and move to our next item, which is COM 034-25, outgoing sponsorship, Kingsway Community Care Fundraising Dinner 2025. And we will be hearing a report from our sponsorship specialist. Got many hats, haven't you? Manager Margaret Lee, but I'll just call for a mover and seconder for that report. So that's moved by Councillor Mort and seconded by Councillor Allison. And we'll go to Ms Lee for an overview of this particular report. Thank you.
Thank you, through you, Madam Chair. So this report tonight, councillors, is seeking council approval for an outgoing sponsorship request to the value of $5,000.
Oh, sorry, I skipped. That was, I've just got the mover and the second for the Kingsway. Are you speaking to the? Would you like me to? Yeah, sorry, I'll go back for that. Yeah. So we're talking about COM 033-25, the event grant, September 25 to October 25. Apologies, everyone. I'll call for a mover and a seconder for that one. That is.
Madam Chair, apologies. I would feel more comfortable if I lead for this item. Yeah, since I declared interest.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Domovsky.
It doesn't matter. I feel comfortable if I.
Okay, so we will now move for a mover and a seconder for this item. So that was Deputy Mayor Councillor Liu's moving it, and I think that's Councillor Mort is seconding it. And we're hearing from Ms Lee on this report, and my apologies for skipping this one. Sorry.
Thank you through you, Madam Chair. So this report tonight is seeking council approval for event grants for 3 upcoming community-led events. So I'll go one by one. So the first event seeking council support is for the Macedonian Festival 2025. It's a multicultural community festival to celebrate the Macedonian heritage. This is proposed to be held on the 7th of September at Carsbush Park, and the event grant value is $20,000, comprising of $18,745 financial and $1,225 in kind. For the use of the grant that's identified in the report in that first table for your standard event management costs. The second event grant is from Lugano Lions for their annual spring fair, so the Lugano Lions Community Fair, to be held at Riverwood Park on the Sunday the 21st of September. The value of that is $20,000 as well, broken up in $17,980 for financial support and $2,020 in kind value. The event has been an annual long running event since 1974, and there will be a range of local entertainers, cultural food stalls, emergency service displays, and vehicle exhibits and children amusements. And again, the use of the grant is for our usual event management requirements listed in the report. The third one is on behalf of Kogarah Community Services, requesting an event grant of $16,660 financial contribution only for the Healthy Minds and Wellbeing Expo, which is proposed for Kogarah Park on the 9th of October. So the Healthy Minds and Wellbeing Expo, this is bringing together our local businesses, residents and service providers to promote mental health awareness within the Georges River area. The use for the grant is outlined in the report, so our usual event management costs as well as mindfulness and art activities for the attendees, and pet therapy dog. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. Councillors,
Madam Chair, I'd like to.
hang on a second.
Madam Chair.
Is that you, Councillor Gow? You'd like to ask a question?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
go
Yes.
ahead.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Look, I just wanted to declare a non-significant, non-pecuniary interest there, that I was a member of the Lugano Lions Club between May 2024 to June 2025. I am no longer a member of the Lugano Lions Club as of present.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Gow. We'll note that, and perhaps you can just send in your disclosure to council officers when you get a chance. Did you have any further questions on it at all, or you just wanted to make that declaration?
I just wanted to make that declaration.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Councillors, are there any questions at all? Right. I just would like to thank you for the report. For the benefit of the newer councillors, this is something which is a fairly standard sort of sponsorship that happens every year. We get requests from different community organisations, and we have a particular budget, which name escapes me, that we allocate funding out of. Is it the events budget?
Yes, it's our event grants and sponsorship budget for community events.
Thank you. Yeah, so these are the sorts of community events that council supports, sometimes in kind, sometimes financially, sometimes both. And all of these events are always very well attended, and it's always very valuable for council to be involved and to support these community organisations. So just to give you a bit of background to that. Any further questions, comments? No? Okay. Ms. Matthew, would you mind going around the room, please?
Mayor Borg,
4.
Councillor Lansbury,
4.
Councillor Allison,
4.
Councillor Angelotti,
4.
Councillor Arthur,
4.
Councillor Gow,
4.
Councillor Liu, Councillor Moore,
4.
Councillor Wayne.
4.
Unanimous.
Great, thank you. We'll declare that one carried. And now we'll go to COM. Oh, we'll just wait for Councillor Dmowski to return. Thank you. So we'll now go to COM 034-25 which is the outgoing sponsorship for Kingsway Community Care Fundraising Dinner 2025. We already do have a mover and a seconder. I think we can probably stick with that unless the meeting has a concern with that. It was moved by Councillor Moore and seconded by Councillor Allison. And once again, we're going to hear from our manager, Margaret Lee, to provide an overview of the report. Thank you.
Thank you through you, Madam Chair. So this next report is seeking council approval for $5,000 sponsorship to be a sponsor of the Kingsway Community Care Fundraising Dinner, which will be held on the 23rd of October this year. A bit of background about the organisation. So Kingsway Community Care is South Sydney's largest provider for temporary and crisis housing for individuals and families who have experienced domestic or family violence and affected by homelessness in our area. Through their housing program, Platform 9, the annual event is aimed to the fundraising dinner to provide an opportunity for the local community to demonstrate their support by attending the event and making financial contributions. It's going to be the 10th anniversary of Platform 9, celebrating that decade of service and impact, and anticipated to attract about 400 people with a fundraising target of 80,000 to support the organisation's ongoing program. As with all sponsorship or event grant requests, it's assessed against council's policy. So the relevant one is council's sponsorship policy, and council officers recommend its approval or its endorsement, and the return benefits for being a sponsor outlined in the report. I'm happy to take any questions.
Great, thank you, Ms. Lee. Councillors, do we have any questions about this item?
I just have a comment.
Madam Mayor?
I think I've been the last couple of years, and it really is an inspiring event where you get to see and hear firsthand how Kingsway Care are really transforming people's lives. So it is a really inspirational event to attend and just see that how they actually people have just turned their lives around with the support of this organisation. So it's a very worthwhile sponsorship.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Totally agree. It is definitely they're a very worthwhile organisation to support. And if we do have the opportunity to, if you do have the opportunity to attend, I do recommend it. It's a very good night. If there's no further questions or comments from councillors, we might call for you to go around the room, please, Ms. Matthew.
Mayor Borg,
For
Councillor Lanesbury,
For.
Councillor Allison,
For.
Councillor Angelotti,
For.
Councillor Arthur,
For.
Councillor Demoski,
For.
Councillor Gow,
For.
Councillor Liu, Councillor Moore,
For.
Councillor Wing.
For.
Unanimous.
Great, thank you. We'll declare that one carried, and moving to, I think, our final item of the night, unless I've skipped another one. COM 035-25, licence renewal, St George District Rugby League Football Club, Harold Fraser Oval, 276 Princess Highway, Cogra Bay. We will be hearing an overview of this report from our Coordinator, Community, Property and Venues, Andrew Williams. But firstly, I'll call for a mover and a seconder. So that's being moved by Councillor Mort and seconded by Councillor Allison. And we'll now go to Andrew Williams for an overview. Thank you.
Through you, Madam Chair. Good evening, councillors. This report seeks approval from council to delegate authority to the General Manager to enter a renewal licence, option licence agreement with St George District Rugby League Football Club at Harold Fraser Oval in Cogra Bay. Currently, the club has an existing licence agreement for exclusive use of the upper level of the amenities building at Harold Fraser, which is currently utilised as a gymnasium, along with shared use of the ground floor change rooms in the amenities building and the sports ground located on Harold Fraser Oval itself. The licence agreement is for a period of 3 years from 1st of November 2022 to 31st of October this year, with a further option to renew period of 2 years from 1st of November 2025 to 31st of October 2027, which is what this report is in relation to. On 27th of June, the club contacted council to notify their intention to exercise their option to renew period. However, as this property is identified on the list of properties specified within clause 4 categories A and B of council's instrument of delegations of functions to the General Manager, this report is seeking approval from council to delegate authority to the General Manager to enter the renewal option licence period. The rental income amount per annum is $45,894 plus GST plus a 3% rental increase as well for the term of the option to renew licence period. Are there any questions?
Councillors, is that Madam Mayor?
Yes, I do have a question. I understand this is just for the option. They're taking up their option, but do we have any obligation or have we made any communication with the soccer club who is also at the site just to let them know that this, like, did this go out? It didn't go out for expression of interest because it's just an option that they're expressing. So what is our communication being with the other users of the site?
Through you, Madam Chair, Manager Margaret Lee and myself meet with Football St George monthly, so we have notified Gary Lockwood.
Okay, and no objections?
No, he's aware of the extension.
Wonderful.
We go through Football St George. Yeah.
And this is only for the actual space upstairs. So do they have the field allocation, or are they going through the process of seeking field allocation usage as a separate process to complement the usage there?
Through you, Madam Chair. Yes, it's a EOI for the use of the field, whereas this is just for the gym on level 1.
Yeah, okay. So them getting the license for the gym does not mean
The
that
non-exclusive use of the field.
but this license doesn't give them use of the field. They still have to go through the normal standard expression of interest allocations process to get the fields for the times that they want.
That's correct. And if there's through you, Madam Chair, sorry, that's correct. And if there are any clashes, it goes through our process to liaise with all user groups of the Oval to determine the best way forward. Basically.
I just wanted to get it clear that just because they're getting the space upstairs, they're still going through the normal allocation process in accordance with the field allocation policy for the field usage.
And as part of that, they also get shared use of the downstairs change rooms as well.
Yep. Okay, that was my only questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, councillors? Councillor Gow, online, did you have any questions?
No, not at this stage.
Okay, thank you. All right, if that's the case, this has been moved by Councillor Mort and seconded by Councillor Allison, and I'll ask Ms Matthew to go around the room, please.
Mayor Borg.
For.
Councillor Lansbury.
For.
For.
Councillor Anzalotti.
For.
Councillor Arthur.
For.
Councillor Demoski.
For.
Councillor Gow.
For.
Councillor Liu. Councillor Mort. For. Councillor Wang.
For.
Unanimous.
Great, thank you. We'll declare that one carried, and as that was the last item on the agenda for this evening, we can close the meeting at 6:36 p.m. Thank you everybody for your attendance, and thank you to all of our council officers who put the business paper together for tonight. Thank you.